Hello everyone, and welcome to my Iconic Goodbyes channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Phyllis and Sharon are finally rescued. Sharon and Phyllis remained in the underground prison, determined to locate the surveillance camera their captor had been using. They decided to actively hunt for it because they knew the voice was watching them anyhow. Phyllis decided they needed to let out some aggression during their hunt, so they trashed the property, which felt fantastic. The women ripped apart pillows and broke lights while denouncing Jordan and Ian, believing they were ultimately accountable for what had happened to them. Sharon also broke a bookcase and apologized to Phyllis for what she had unknowingly done to her family while on PCP. Alan's plan may have worked when Phyllis told Sharon she didn't want to talk about it any longer. Phyllis realized she needed to quit blaming Sharon for that. Sharon and Phyllis finally joined, looking up at the speakers to tell their captor that they were in here together and would get out of it together. Sharon and Phyllis even experienced a few moments of laughter when they joked about Nick being the one who set them free. They then considered all of the things they had to live for. Cassidy first, and your new job with Billy. You have to fight for that, Sharon chided. The women then looked some further and eventually found the camera, a tiny little webcam, comparing their search to an Easter egg hunt. In fact, Sharon and Phyllis learned that they might be able to, who knows, one day become pals. Phyllis was astonished by how humorous Sharon could actually be, especially when she quipped, "I think you've solved the riddle. We were kidnapped by the Easter Bunny." Sharon also termed the decor backyard chic. After the camera was disassembled, Sharon and Phyllis sat back and waited for their abductor to approach them. They knew he'd be upset about not being able to see them and would be there soon. Meanwhile, Nick and Billy continued their long and leisurely drive to Havenhurst. Nick contacted Summer and updated his daughter. He promised to bring her mother home shortly. Billy confessed that he was aware that the prior few months had been extremely difficult for the Newmans, beginning with Sharon's strange behavior and hallucinations. The two men also knew Chance would be annoyed when they arrived at the clinic with a police team. He was not going to appreciate them going renegade. "Chance isn't going to like us following him there, so the best we can do is follow his lead," Nick said me. All of this confused Nick. Why would someone kidnap Sharon and Phyllis only to guide them to their rescue? "I can't stop wrapping my head around this whole thing. I don't get it," he told me. When they arrived at the clinic, Nick and Billy discovered that they were correct. Chance was not pleased, especially when Nick recommended they bring in the Newman security team for assistance. There were already too many people involved, and adding the security team would only confuse matters more. Chance preferred to follow protocol and wait for a search warrant, as well as permission from the property manager, before entering. An enraged Nick wanted to rush in without waiting for permission. There were baby moms to save, after all. "We have been hanging on. What are we supposed to tell the women if they're in there, and I believe they are, do we tell them to hang on too?" Nick was confused. Chance only sighed, reminding Nick that this may be a trap. Fortunately, the warrant arrived quickly, but they still had to wait for the owner while Nick and Billy peered through windows, becoming agitated. When the perplexed landlord arrived on the scene, he informed the men that the property had been abandoned for years and that he had never received any calls about it. Even the keys weren't working, so the cops, Nick, and Billy had to find another way in. Finally, they picked the latch and rushed the building. Meanwhile, the women were astonished to receive a message from their captor while waiting at the door with thermoses as weapons. "Not very sportsmanlike, ladies. You lose," the note stated. Sharon was terrified that they had just handed themselves a death sentence by destroying the camera. Perhaps they misread the riddles. However, Phyllis was not about to quit up after they had traveled this far. Sharon and Phyllis held each other's hands and breathed deeply. Whatever happened, they were going to leave. They hadn't known gas was filling the room. When they begin to choke and smell gas, they locate the valve and attempt to seal it, but with little success. During all of this, music began playing, which terrified the women even more. Chance, Nick, and Billy were in the hallway and could hear the music but not see the women. "They're here. I know it, Nick said as he called their names. Sharon swore she heard voices. Unfortunately, Phyllis assumed she was imagining things. Instead, she yelled into the loudspeaker. As the women gulped and gasped, they saw the doorknob move and knew someone was out there. Billy and Nick were on the other side, determined to get them. When Nick kicked in the door, they saw a relieved but distressed Sharon and Phyllis. Phyllis was in much worse shape than Sharon and had passed out. When Chance threatened to shoot open the door, Sharon begged him not to, fearing that the spark would cause an explosion due to the gas leak. Sharon knew Nick would eventually find them, and he did. The men took Nick and Sharon to the ranch to recover, insisting that they were fine and didn't need to go to the ER. The EMTs agreed that they didn't need to go to the hospital. Chance, Billy, and Nick that the police discovered that everything that happened to them was carefully planned and timed, right down to the gas leak. When Nick asked Sharon and Phyllis how they ended up at the clinic, they stated that they had been kidnapped separately and transported there, but when they woke up, they learned they had been trapped together and they had no idea who had done it to them. We never found out who it was. We did hear their voice, though, Sharon said. They spoke to us in this distorted voice. Phyllis said, we don't know if it was a man or a woman. The women were concerned that Jordan and Ian were still alive, but Chance assured them that they were not. Then whoever it was is just as sick as they were, if not more so, if that's even conceivable, Sharon mused. Phyllis added, Ian and Jordan were just your typical psychopaths. Whoever this person is, they are ill. It was as if they enjoyed watching us suffer. They enjoy the game. Like a game of cat and mouse, and you know how it ends. The mouse dies, Sharon announced ominously. Meanwhile, at the Genoa City Athletic Club, Tracy couldn't help but notice all the notifications on Alan's phone. She picked it up while he was in the restroom and saw many messages stating that security had been compromised. Tracy looked bewildered and wondered what the heck was going on. YNR spoilers for Monday, March 17th. Amy is hospitalized, Tracy spies on Alan, and Martin turns cold. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Monday, March 17th tease that Mad Dog Martin Laurent has been impostoring his good twin Alan Laurent for months. This includes wooing Tracy Abbott. This guy is good, give him his flowers. Now the gig is up and some fresh drama's about to explode between Alan and Tracy, and we're here for it. Except the part about Tracy's heart getting broken again. Alan and Tracy have a tussle. Here's what happens. Curious Tracy looks at Alan's phone to see who's been flooding him with notifications. Tracy doesn't sus that he's a cheater, he just proposed. Tracy's discovery leads to questions after a message about a clinic security breach. Tracy wants to know what this is about, but Alan also wants answers when he sees Tracy with his phone. Martin's warmth turns to ice instantly and he grills Tracy, who may say she was checking to be sure he didn't miss anything important. Alan blows up at Tracy. Will Alan lash out and accuse Tracy of spying on him? In the end, Tracy could pressure Alan to tell her about the supposed clinic security breach. We predict that Alan could claim to be working with a random clinic as a consultant and that he's on the list to get notifications. Tracy may buy this, but Sharon Newman and Phyllis Summers' rescue could 86 Martin. Phyllis and Sharon rescued Tracy. Inevitably hears about Phyllis and Sharon being rescued at Havenhurst Psychiatric Clinic, and she will wonder about the coincidence. But that ruse is child's play against Martin's other trick, pretending to be Alan. Poor Tracy. She's going to need a lot of Epsom salt baths when the news hits. Damien grills Nate elsewhere. Damien Kane grills his new bro Nate Hastings. Why is Amy Lewis in a Chicago hospital? Nate may tell him she's undergoing an experimental treatment plan that needs to start ASAP to fight Amy's cancer. The Young and the Restless spoilers show that Nate will do everything in his power to keep Amy alive long enough to reconnect with Damien. What could go wrong? Tell us, YNR fans, do you have the same sick feeling that we may never see Amy again? If something happens to her in the hospital, Damien would never forgive Nate, driving some dynamite story in the future. The Young and the Restless spoilers, Phyllis seeks stability, and Sally senses competition for Billy. The Young and the Restless spoilers document that Phyllis Summers might have gone the way of Heather Stevens if Billy Abbott, Nick Newman, and Chancellor hadn't found her and Sharon Newman at the abandoned psychiatric facility. Thankfully, Billy and Nick pressed the issue and used the link received via text. Alan or Martin Laurent captured and held both ladies hostage for what turned out to be a short period. Sally Spectra doesn't know that Billy is working with an unknown individual who, like him, wants to go after Victor Newman. However, Sally knows that Billy feels sorry for Phyllis and seems fond of her. Phyllis Summers brings heavy baggage. Phyllis needs a job. Viewers aren't sure what happened to the financial windfall she must have gained during the years she partially owned and solely owned the Grand Phoenix Hotel. But apparently, all that money disappeared just like the setting, replaced by the revived Genoa City Athletic Club Hotel. Writing her life since faking death has meant making peace with her children. Part of that effort includes asking Billy for a favor. She successfully convinced Abbott Media's founder to hire Daniel Romalotti. But Phyllis's penchant for freelancing led Billy to naturally conclude that she was seeking business deals without his approval, which explained her strange, sudden absence. That hunch proved false and gave her a modest benefit of the doubt runway. Billy Abbott gambling that he can win. Billy isn't known to be gambling in games of random chance, with a wink to Floyd's character. Instead, Billy focuses on building a business while pursuing justice. Working with an as-yet-to-be-seen force, Billy wants to gather as much clandestine information as possible. He intends to eventually regain control of Chancellor, which the mustache gained control of when Jill Abbott sold it to him. Abbott Media isn't a front but a diversion. Billy wants his loved ones, which includes Sally, to believe he's turned a corner and isn't pursuing risky revenge fantasies. Yet, that is precisely what he's doing. Sally Abbott is still adjusting. It took Sally a long time to take another leap of faith toward Adam Newman. She arrived at a place in her life where Adam appeared to have grown and was ready to be part of a serious relationship. But Adam broke Sally's heart again when he romantically reconnected with Chelsea Lawson in Baltimore, Maryland. Sally and Billy quickly discovered that misery indeed does love company, and their period of coupling began. The audience wondered how long Sally's link to Billy would last. His business bond with Phyllis will test speculation. A likely outcome is that Billy betrays Sally's trust, but Hope's character is no angel either. YNR Spoilers Weekly Update March 17th to 21st, Alan's excuse, Damien's motives, and Holden overstep. The Young and the Restless spoilers for the week of March 17th, 2025, are here. Fans can expect Tracy Abbott to grill Alan Laurent. Lily Winters questions Damien Kane's motives. Plus, Holden Novak presses his luck with Audra Charles. Alan Laurent's excuse. During the week of March 17th, fans will see Alan and Tracy have a tense encounter. Alan walked in and found Tracy looking at his phone. Tracy explained that his phone kept going off and an alert showed up for a clinic. Alan will claim that a hacker got into his phone. When Tracy keeps bringing it up, he starts to lose his patience. Tracy Abbott counseled Tracy might not know whether to believe Alan or not. Tracy loves him and just got engaged. Alan also makes her really happy. Alan's excuse could continue to nag at Tracy, but will she change her mind about the wedding? Later in the week, Jack Abbott and Diane Jenkins Abbott counsel Tracy. So, it sounds like Tracy might open up to them about Alan's phone and the excuse. Damien Kane's motives. Over with Lily, she will have another encounter with Damien. Even though Damien and Lily do seem charmed by one another, there are also secrets and deception. Lily also feels that she still doesn't really know anything real or personal about Damien. She will question his motives, but will Damien get honest? Over with Holden, he presses his luck with Audra. Nick Newman's unexpected invitation. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Sharon Newman and Phyllis Summers aren't out of danger yet. While they were rescued, their kidnapper is still out there. Of course, they have no idea that it's Alan, or is it really Martin Laurent? Sharon has decided it might be a good time to visit her son in New York. Nick will get an unexpected invitation, though. Sharon will want him to come with her, but will he accept? Could something more come from the trip? Week of March 17th, 2025. Next week, fans will also see Billy Abbott make a discovery about Phyllis. Victor Newman gives Kyle Abbott a reality check. Also, sparks fly between Adam Newman and Chelsea Lawson. Miss Hale Morgan to star in 4 Hallmark rom-coms following Young and the Restless. Miss Hale Morgan, who played Amanda on YNR, is set to become Hallmark's new leading lady. Miss Hale Morgan made a brief return to The Young and the Restless. Unfortunately, for soap fans, she has moved on from the show. Now, Morgan is switching gears and moving to Hallmark. New leading lady say hello to Hallmark's new leading lady. Morgan will bring her acting chops to the network. In 2023, she starred in her first film, Christmas with a Kiss. This year, Morgan will star in 4 romantic comedies for the network. According to a report via Daytime Confidential, the first movie of spring 2025 is Hearts Around the Table, Sherry's second act. Morgan plays a woman named Sherry, who's getting over her breakup. She returns to Washington, D.C., where she wants to get in touch with her artistic roots. Sherry gets inspired when she meets art gallery owner Evan. The movie premieres on Saturday, March 29th, at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Hallmark. It will also be available to stream shortly after on Hallmark Plus and Peacock. Booked and busy, there are 4 movies in the Hearts Around the Table series that are all premiering on Hallmark this spring, according to Hallmark Media. Morgan will star in all 4. She is the lead in Sherry's second act, but will have a supporting role in the other 3. The other 3 movies are Hearts Around the Table, Jenna's First Love, Hearts Around the Table, Josh's Third Serving, and Hearts Around the Table, Kiki's Fourth Ingredient. They will all premiere throughout the months of March and April. This is great news for YNR fans who miss Morgan on the show. In the meantime, Morgan made a major change to her hair. What are your thoughts on Morgan's new role? Are you excited to see her on the Hearts Around the Table series? Do you miss her on YNR? Let us know in the comments section. Alan faces Tracy's tough interrogation. Will Tracy receive the truth from her man? Next on The Young and the Restless, Alan did a very, very bad thing and he's not doing a great job at keeping it a secret. That notification that flashed on his phone screen at the Friday show has Tracy on edge. What exactly does security breach at clinic? Precautions enacted mean? Tracy wants to know and she wants to know right now. We have no doubt Alan will think fast and find a way to cover his tracks. At least for now. We can't imagine it will stay that way for long, though. All it will take is Tracy hearing about Phyllis and Sharon's plight and surely she'll put the pieces together. Tracy is a smart woman and she's lived through enough to know to trust her gut. A new secret? Meanwhile, Billy sticks close to Phyllis and even makes a new discovery about her. Will this be something that puts him on edge or makes her even more endearing? Billy may be all lovey-dovey with Sally, but he's known for having a wandering eye. Could that eye wander Phyllis's way again? Fixing what's broken at the same time, Nick works to put supports in place for Sharon. The poor woman has suffered so many horrific twists and it's going to be a rough recovery. She had barely gotten herself back on her feet after that attack by Camryn, only to be a pawn in Jordan and Ian Ward's games. Then, to be kidnapped again? Sharon is going to need a whole lot of love, a good amount of therapy, and a strong shoulder to lean on if she's going to get back to herself. She's a strong woman, but this series of unfortunate events could break the best of them, and Nick isn't taking any chances. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, so please don't forget to subscribe my channel and don't miss any update.